The last two French military outposts in Senegal have now been formally returned to the control of Dakar. Marking the end of the 65-year deployment, these are the images of the handover ceremony in Senegal's capital, Dakar. It's a pretty dramatic move and a close to a chapter that had begun with the colonial conquest, and it continued through counter-terrorism cooperation, training missions and strategic defense agreements.
Between the port and the train station is the statue of Demba and Dupont, arm in arm holding an olive branch. One is Senegalese, the other is French. Together, they liberated France from German occupation during World War II. But guess which one wasn't allowed to march into Paris despite helping to liberate it? Now, with the last French military base being handed over to Senegal, it seems Dupont is walking away. Behind the barbed wired wall, a final salute. Down comes the French flag, up goes the Senegalese one. A small ceremony for a big moment, the end of French military presence here.
From a network, in November 2024, President Bassirou Faye made a bold and public declaration. All French military bases in Senegal must close, stating unequivocally that seniority does not accept the presence of military bases in a sovereign country.
But for Senegal, it was important, and obviously for France as well. The president of Senegal said in an interview several months ago that he wanted those troops out this year.
As we approach the 65th anniversary of our independence, the French authorities must also consider having a partnership that is without military presence, one that is rich and fruitful, a privileged and global partnership as we have with many other countries. The desire to move towards the absence of a military presence, not just from France, but from any other country, should not be interpreted as a desire to cut all relations with France.
This wasn't an offhand remark. It was a binding political commitment tied to his campaign promise for national sovereignty and a symbolic rejection of colonial-era influence.
Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa. Breaking news out of West Africa: a seismic shift that has stunned global powers and shaken the roots of colonial control. France has just lost its last military base in Senegal. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has officially evicted French forces from Camp Geille and Dakar Airport, a move echoing across the continent like thunder. This isn't just a withdrawal. This is a rebellion. This is Senegal joining the revolution sparked by Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Stay with us. What you're about to hear may change how you see Africa forever. On a hot afternoon in Dakar, the unthinkable became reality. Senegalese officials stood before a crowd at Camp Geille, the historic French military base, and announced, the land of Léopold Senghor will no longer serve foreign interests. Camp Geille is now under Senegalese control. That same day, the French tricolor flag was lowered. In its place, the red, green, and yellow flag of Senegal was raised high. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, young, bold, unapologetically African, delivered a televised message. We will no longer be a staging ground for foreign interests. Senegal's sovereignty is non-negotiable. The footage went viral. A former tax inspector, a political prisoner, a reformist. Bassirou Diomaye Faye stunned the world when he won the presidency in 2024, running on a Pan-African anti-imperialist platform. But what few expected was action this swift. In just months, he's suspended French defense agreements, aligned publicly with Traoré's Pan-African alliance, called for new currency sovereignty and regional security led by Africans. Faye is more than a leader. He's becoming a symbol of a new West Africa. No longer begging, no longer obedient, but rising with pride. And behind it all is the figure who started this fire. Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré of Burkina Faso, just 36 years old, ignited a movement across the Sahel when he expelled French troops, cut ties with Paris, and formed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, with Mali and Niger. Now his message has crossed borders. Africa must rise. Africa must lead itself. Africa needs no master, Traoré said in a speech that went viral across the continent. Senegal has heard that message. Bassirou Diomaye Faye isn't alone. He's part of something bigger. Once upon a time, France had military bases in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, Ivory Coast, Senegal. Today, all but one are gone. Now, with Senegal's decision to kick out France, Paris has officially lost its final strategic stronghold in West Africa. Camp Geille was more than a base. It was a symbol of France's post-colonial grip on the region. It's gone now. French military officials scrambled to downplay the exit, but the silence in Paris is louder than any words. This is the collapse of a military empire. Pan-Africanism used to be a concept. Now it's becoming a policy. What we're seeing is not isolated. Guinea nationalized its bauxite, Botswana halted diamond exports, Zimbabwe banned raw lithium exports, Ghana's president rejected U.S. troops. The AES is planning a joint central bank, and now Senegal has joined that revolution. The message is clear: Africa first, and it's terrifying Western powers who've grown used to cheap resources, silent leaders, and easy influence. Senegal's move is not just symbolic. It changes geopolitics. It weakens NATO reach into Africa. It closes access to air surveillance hubs. It emboldens other African nations still under foreign pressure. And for the African people, it inspires hope. Hope that this generation of leaders will finally break the chains. Hope that resources will be used for schools, hospitals, roads, not foreign contracts. Hope that Africa will lead itself into the 21st century, not follow behind. Western media tried to spin the story. CNN said France diplomatically withdraws. Reuters called it a peaceful transition. But in private, officials are worried. The French Foreign Ministry expressed deep concern. The U.S. State Department said it's monitoring developments. Why? Because Senegal is not alone. Because Traoré is not isolated. Because the continent is awakening. And this awakening cannot be stopped. What we're witnessing is historic. Burkina Faso started the fire. Niger and Mali fanned the flames. And now Senegal has thrown in its match. This is not the end. It's just the beginning. From Dakar to Ouagadougou, from Bamako to Accra, Africa is standing up. And France? It's leaving with its tail between its legs. The military flags are down, the power is shifting, and a new era is rising, led by Africans for Africans.